But just having an idea isn't good enough. You have to be able to innovate. And that's the difference. Creativity is that internal process, that spark in the brain. But innovation is that external process that creates a social and economic effect. The better question is, how do we combine the two in sales? In business or life, it begins with the next great idea. Where does that great idea come from? Well, it starts with a spark, a thought. And it's that thought that turns into an idea, and that idea creates a conversation. In that moment, that dialogue, how well do we communicate these thoughts and ideas so that they ignite greater productivity or improve performance levels or change a culture or even get buy-in faster? We share how to craft that effective and profitable conversation, the better way to communicate. We ask the tough questions and we help you answer them. And your relationship with your customer is built on one interaction after one interaction. And it is the interaction and it is that conversation that creates the relationship. And it happens through an intense association. So my question for you is, what are you selling? We share a little bit of theory, but we're always asking, so what? I mean, how do you turn that theory into practical application? How does this theory improve my next sale, my next management meeting, my next project, my next acquisition? We know how adults learn, and we know how they want to learn. So we creatively integrate behavioral science and adult learning theory with the real-world topic at hand, whether it's leadership, sales, innovation, or executive development. We create training experiences that are engaging, provocative, fun, so people truly change their behaviors, their conversation, for the long term. We share tools that our participants can immediately put into practice. The BBI is a tool that says, how do we get to the better question? And it forces you to look at it from a reflective, evaluative, and predictive perspective to literally, and I mean this in the original definition of the word, manipulate the type of thinking that you want. So if I'm going to pull my executive team together and accountability is a big issue, I'm going to make sure that right along that accountability line, I know who is going to do what, by when, and how are they going to get it done. And that's a tool that we're going to get again later today. My style is this unique blend of nerdy intelligence, creativity, and irreverence. I love what I do. I just love it. Our goal is to have you discover fresh ideas, experience critical thinking, create an innovative and actionable approach. We hope that people walk away from their experience with us saying, wow, I never looked at it that way. I experienced a true shift in perspective. The result? You're more effective, more productive, more profitable. I love being a speaker because I get to step into the mind of my audience. I tap into their fears in the stem reptilian and travel through their emotions in the limbic mammalian, and then I get to ask that truly compelling and provocative question that triggers their neocortex and gets them to say, oh, that's it, that's it. That's the question we need to answer to solve our problems. When I can help somebody break through a barrier that they've never been able to break through before, well, not only is it rewarding, but it's also magic. And a gentleman says to me, AmyK, everywhere I go, I'm defending myself. So of course, what do I say? What'd you do? And he says, well, you know, I laid off 42 people, and then 3 weeks later, I hired 2 rainmakers. And I was like, oh, so what's going on? And he says, well, you know, everywhere I travel, I'm defending myself for the rainmakers. So I respectfully said, you're not doing your job. When you walk into an office and you do this to defend yourself, that's not leadership. Leadership is communicating ahead of time that you've got a 2-year vision and there's 8 steps. And by the way, step 1 was the layoff, step 2 is the rainmakers, step 3, Mike, I need you to work on phase 1 with Sue on phase 4, which is actually going to be probably a 12-week timeline, but let's get it rolling. Oh, and by the way, here's your role, and here's your value, and here's your contribution. I'm going to control the culture inside my company. They grab the saber-toothed tiger, they drag the saber-toothed tiger back to the cave, the saber-toothed tiger eats everybody in the cave, and you wonder why you have problems inside your organization. Anybody ever have a client that gave you way too little return on investment for the time and the resources that you gave them? What's our ideal client? What do they look like, sound like, and feel like? We operate out of habits, patterns, and ruts. The more we repeat a behavior, the deeper the neural groove is in the brain. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. So when you ask me to change my behavior, what my response always is, "Whoa, wait a minute. I might be doing the wrong thing, but I do it so well. Why would I change?" And so one of the things that we have to do when we talk to our customers is we have to set them up for success. People do not fear change. That is a myth. We crave change. The brain craves change. It isn't change that we fear. It's whether we're going to be successful in the new way. We want your brain buzzing with great ideas that set you and your teams up for success. We want you to actually know how to put your ideas in motion. When you ask a better question, experience richer conversations, and develop a more thoughtful action plan, you get brilliant, profitable results. We ignite your brilliance.